Welcome back, everyone. This is Lapidosum, and it feels like it's been over a month since I've had to talk to myself like this. I did upload my last speed drawing video of Inktober last week or before last week, I believe, but I didn't realize until the very end that I forgot to turn my mic on. So it was already out on YouTube by the point I realized that. Anyway, if you had heard what I was saying in that video, I probably talked about how I have given up on Inktober, or on myself to be more precise, as I noticed that again I was only ever drawing when I was alone, and the rest of the time I was either working or being present for other people. And by the end of the day, I was typically just too tired to go on. And they didn't take it too seriously either. So I lost a lot of days of progress, and I ended up having to make up for it every day I chose to draw. So those few days when I was actually working, it took me not one 20-minute drawing, but like 5 10-minute drawings that were not all there in quality. Anyway, I talked all my time away again. So what you were seeing in the beginning of this video was me trying to solidify Vessel's design in my art style. Um, you could see that I shared a appeal study and just an overall exaggeration of his expressions as a soon to be cartoon character. And I don't know if I promised here, but I definitely promised on Reddit that I was going to keep working with that. And this is me going on working with that. So, yes, yeah, I was trying to solidify the design at first. I tried to set my expectations clear on how big his head is compared to the rest of his body, how long his limbs are, how slim they are, how much space there should be between his chin and his collarbone, for example, just to mention a few. And I did not do a good job. As you could see, I didn't take my time to really gain a sort of routine in painting the character, and I kept forgetting the measurements that I set for myself. And maybe it's not that noticeable now, but it will be as this animation goes on. But you can probably already tell that just the size of his torso alone is changing constantly, which should be a very fixed point. Um, his belt is basically moving up and down through the frames, and I don't know how I didn't notice. That's why I was working on it. Also, his arms are slowly shrinking in length, even though you can see me sometimes attempting to help myself with guidelines that are supposed to be like portions of a circle with the point of origin as with the point of origin being his shoulders or his hips in the case of his legs, so that I can keep a consistent length. But yeah, the problem with that is that while walking, the shoulders and the hips are not fixed either, and it was needless trying to treat them as if they were fixed, because it ended up not working, and I just ended up making it harder for myself. Turning it into a cycle was not that hard actually. You can see me working on it now. basically for, well, this is just the sketch. It wasn't that easy for the cleanup phase. Here I could just switch the position of the limbs left and right, so that I didn't have to animate a whole other step separately. Um, Although that would have probably been better given that um, this is just ugly, and the only reason why it worked was that it doesn't have any depth. So please keep in mind that this is my first log cycle ever. So the little waving motion that he does with his hands as he reaches forward. I don't know how I did that. I actually just wasn't paying any attention to his wrist and the position of his hands at all. And now on to the cleanup phase. Overall, I would say this entire animation took me about a week, maybe 10 days of recording and painting or so. And the cleanup phase was definitely the longest and most challenging part. As you can see, going into detail, which I already have in his appeal study, that you can see sometimes when I look at references, I realized that there were so many other little things that I should have clarified first, and I just didn't because in those few paintings of him that came up in my appeal study, I just didn't paint him from this specific angle or in a way that those parts are visible. And I was being a proper painter, I guess, and just being happy that I didn't have to um, paint those trickier parts. But being an animator, I realized that I can't, I can just avoid those. I also regret not studying more footage of his cape beforehand, or cloak, or whatever, because I took like a 9 frame cycle with them, as you can see, in 12 frames per second, which not only made it almost incompatible with the cycle of his steps that gave me more headaches every step of the way, but it also moves way too fast and it's just way too much compared to if you look at actual footage of him moving around on stage. Um, it looks much more weighted, or I guess it looks like it's made of some harder material that doesn't flow that easily. So I was really just doing myself a disservice by putting so much motion in it. You also won't see me coloring him in this video because animation is time consuming enough as it is, and I'm just a beginner and I already colored him. And also, I have other ideas that I want to start working on, and this was already way too long for just one project, or so I felt. It did give me a lot of experience, and I really feel like I took a lot away from it. Just looking back, I feel like I could have spent this time doing something else, maybe. But I will get to that in the future, in the near future, preferably, if I have the time. But I should know that Inktober is over, and I didn't do like 30, the last 6 days or so. Also, this video is already 70 minutes long or so. I had to divide it into two parts so that I could do my voiceover. I sped up these individual sections in Shortcut and I cut them. Um, I just mashed them together basically. I could have also recorded my audio in Shortcut, but every time I've tried to do that, it was just way more pain than anything, and I kept having to spend about an hour in every single video just trying to figure out why Shortcut won't let me speak into my microphone or won't hear me or something. I never actually figured out what the problem was in those cases. I just kept doing random stuff and it kept getting solved after a few hours of suffering. But yeah, that wasn't worth it for me. So I guess I'll just keep using Google Vids. I am familiar with Google Apps anyways, and they are pretty easy to manage. It's just that they have a 10-minute limit on editing videos. That's why I had to take this apart into two separate videos. And you can see me breaking his wrists again. Please don't look at the wrists. I swear they looked okay to me, as they were like the 16th wrist that I drew in a single project, and I'm not used to having to draw so many hands and wrists. And I didn't. I I swear I didn't notice how ugly it was. We're in like the last few days of working on this at the moment, and you can see that I am not even coming up with new ideas at this point. I'm just grinding, and I will keep grinding until the end of it, basically. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this in my appeal speed paint video or not because that video was messed up as well. It was originally meant to be a 24-minute long video that turned into a 7-minute long one because I lost most of the files while rebooting my boyfriend's laptop because I am obviously working on my boyfriend's laptop because why wouldn't I be? And I lost the audio files as well, so I just had to re-record and try to say everything I said in 24 minutes in 7 minutes. So, yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I am worried about the whole Riku situation going on. Obviously, one of the reasons why I am doing this is not only that I love Sleep Token genuinely, it's also that it's simply easier for artists to reach more people with fan art because there will there isn't much of a chance that people would be interested in my art as it is because I am just an internet stranger, but people definitely are interested in Sleep Token, so I am definitely trying to profit off of that like a leech. And while even if this does reach more people than I expect, that's not going to lead me to actual profit. I mean, followers, yes, but not like actual money. I'm not doing any of this for money. I will be once I get actual gigs, but that won't be happening in the near future. So I am mostly just enjoying my time as someone who only does art as a hobby. And I definitely would be sorry if this got taken down because of copyright or whatever. I could accept it. I mean, this is This isn't exactly fan art, it's an animation, and I haven't really seen many animations of Sleep Token. Maybe on YouTube, but definitely not on Instagram and Reddit. But also for it to be taken down, I guess it would have to be noticed first. So the greater part of me would love it if it got noticed at all. And I have a little over 1 minute to finish my monologue. This was even more chaotic than it normally is. I know. I don't script these videos because I figure I would just stay away from the script anyway. But I am also naturally chaotic, unscripted. And he said shape is all wrong in this one, but I try to fix it. Anyway, I might start doing live streams sometime in the future. Instead of animation, I will probably be focusing on speed paints and the, well, not speed paints, just paints in general. I'm talking about the composition studies of Pan's Labyrinth that I mentioned before. I've been really looking forward to that, and I still am. And knowing myself, there would probably be a bunch of stuff that I would notice, but then I would forget about. So I might do myself and you as well a service by recording it in a live stream and not in a speed paint like this one. But thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for engaging with my content, even if you're just about to report this to Rico or something. I appreciate you being here, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye.